Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you wherever and whenever you are joining us. Welcome to a special NFL Draft edition for the NFL Draft 2026 of What Caught My Eye. Now, if you didn't realize, the Senior Bowl just wrapped up after the Shrine Bowl, and we are coming up on the NFL Combine real quick. So draft season is in full swing, and we thought, what better way to get some more knowledge, because we all need that, than to welcome back senior NFL analyst and draft expert at Essentially Sports and the biggest Led Zeppelin fan on the face of the earth, Mr. Tony Pauline. Tony, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me. I hope today is Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Tuesday. Well, the Olympics are on. A little lull between the Senior Bowl and the Combine. Was watching the Olympics today, the women's short program. And lo and behold, the woman from France, her short program, she skated to Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, awesome.
Which, was pretty cool. She didn't skate very well, but they gave her 7,000 extra points for her presentation and cursive music. So I think she has enough points to win the next 4 gold medals. So good for her.
The East German judge didn't dock her at all for that.
Well, I hate to tell you, there hasn't been an East German judge for about, the wall fell thanks to Reagan, but that's another podcast.
Yes, it is. All right, Tony. So, like we said, the Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl just wrapped up. Can you give us a couple risers each from the Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl that we should keep an eye on?
Well, yeah, I mean, it wrapped up a couple of weeks ago, so we're a little late with this. But, I mean, some of the offensive linemen I thought played very well. Emil Wagner of Notre Dame was terrific. Played both left and right tackle. At the Shrine Bowl, long-armed, athletic kid. Probably going to be a 4th-round pick, maybe a 3rd-round pick. Is going to be at the Combine. Eli Raridan, the tight end from Notre Dame. Good two-way tight end. Not the fastest guy in the world, but catches the ball well, blocks very well. I absolutely love the tackle at the Senior Bowl from Arizona State, Max Iannacore, who I was talking about. I do a weekly podcast at NewYorkGiants.com called Draft Season with John Schmelk. We've done that for about 5 years now, and that was a guy I was really looking forward to. Big, strong, athletic guy. Hasn't played that much football. Really starting to get to learn how to play football. I think he's worked his way into the top 40. Has gotten better and better. Alan Herman of Maryland, the offensive lineman, really wasn't graded coming into the season. Played left tackle for the Terps. An athletic guy who moves his feet very well. Lee Hunter of the big defensive tackle from Texas Tech was impossible to stop for 3 days of Senior Bowl practice. Central Florida transfer who was dominant at Texas Tech. He could end up in the back end of round 1 because defensive tackle is a priority position, and really the position stinks this year in the draft. So a guy like that could go earlier than a lot of people think.
I like it. Talk about the first round. Is it a foregone conclusion that the Raiders are going to take Fernando Mendoza? Like, is there no drama there at all? Is it just everyone knows it's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it was going to happen anyway. But once Clint Kubiak accepted that job, you knew that Mendoza was the first pick of the draft. If you follow anything I write at Essentially Sports, we were way ahead of the curve on the Clint Kubiak to the Las Vegas Raiders. It was either he was going to take the Raiders job or he was going to go back to Seattle. He wasn't taking the Arizona Cardinal job, as I reported. And I'll bet my bottom dollar part of the agreement that Clint Kubiak going to Vegas was that Fernando Mendoza was going to be the first pick of the draft. They've got to take him. There's no other quarterbacks in this draft. It really falls off a cliff this year. Not so much the way it did last year after Cam Ward, but there's a lot of question marks. And you can't be passing up a quarterback this year to potentially get one in 2027 because that rarely works out.
Yeah, you bring up the rest of the class. I feel like I've seen Ty Simpson being ranked as the second best. Where do you see him going? Is he even going to get first round, maybe second round?
I think, people think the Jets will take him with that first round pick. I don't think so. I mean, Ty Simpson, I think he's going to end up in the first round, bottom part of the first round. The Rams have 2 picks in the first round. They need to start to address the quarterback of the future with Matt Stafford getting so much older. Stafford's got 1 more year on his contract, I should say. So drafting Ty Simpson by the Rams at the bottom end of round one would make a lot of success. Would make a lot of sense. Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe. I'm not a big Ty Simpson guy. I think he should have stayed in school one more year. He's got some physical skills. He makes the right choices, but when you watch the film, he's constantly staring down the primary target, and that will lead to ruin on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. A little inconsistent, I thought, from Ty Simpson. Like, you had the flashes, but then, like you said, it was almost like one track mind. Either this is the read and I'm running, and like you said, that unless you're Lamar Jackson, you're going to get killed on Sunday doing
It
that.
was not good at the end of the year.
No.
I mean, he had that first game against Florida State, then he played well September and October. Really, from that early November game against Oklahoma where they lost, and then I think they played Eastern Illinois or something. Struggled against Auburn, got the crap kicked out of him against Georgia in the SEC title game. Did play well the second half of the
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma game in the college football playoffs in the opening round, but then got pummeled by Indiana as most other teams did. Just not a good way to enter the draft. I always put a premium on quarterbacks who are playing well when they enter the draft, as Fernando Mendoza does, and Simpson doesn't fit that bill.
Do you think his decision was impacted by Dante Moore not entering the draft, knowing that I would be the number two person?
Not at all.
Oh.
I don't. He's an older guy. Okay, I mean, even if it was impacted by Dante Moore, if Dante Moore enters the draft, he's very likely the second pick of the entire draft to the New York Jets. Dante Moore's a top. At worst, he goes number 4 to the Cleveland Browns. We're talking about Ty Simpson now being a late first round choice. So it really wouldn't have impacted him either way. I don't. I think maybe the fact that he's an older quarterback is going to be what 23, 24 years old. The fact that when he got hurt, their backup quarterback came in and showed a lot of skill. He needs a lot of work on his game. The sophomore that's got the rifle arm. I'm shocked. I don't know what went into it. I think for him to say something like that, which I know he hasn't, you're just putting that out
Yes,
there,
yes, obviously.
it is sort of an excuse. I don't think it had any impact on it at all. And remember, I mean, Moore didn't make his decision until the very, very end. So it wasn't like Moore, there was a large time frame from when Dante Moore made his decision and then Ty Simpson did. I mean, Dante Moore waited till the very end to make his decision.
Do you think it was a good decision for Dante Moore to stay in school?
Well, again, if you follow me at Essentially Sports, I was ahead of the curve on this. Number one, because I'm close to his people. And they told me that landing spot would be a conversation topic for Dante Moore to decide whether or not he was going to enter the draft. And then they felt like he's going to be the second or third pick of the draft. He's got to enter the draft. He's got to enter the event. But I think what happened is he was the NIL deals have changed the face of underclassmen entering the draft. It's given them a huge option. So he would have been selected very likely by the New York Jets. And let's forget about the fact, same old Jets, this and that. The Jets are in a situation where the head coach in 2027 may not be the head coach that's the same head coach in 2026, Aaron Glenn. They may overgo a whole change of the coaching staffs again. They may need to have a new general manager. If you want to say the chances, if you don't want to say the chances are leaning towards that, you got to say it's at least 50-50. And as we saw with coaches who didn't want to interview with the New York Jets for coaching positions, or players, it's going to be a problem in free agency because nobody wants to go to an organization where a year from now the face of the organization may be completely changed. You got new coaches coming in and new systems coming in. So I think that Dante Moore probably made the right decision. He's going to make as much money in Oregon in 2026 as he would have made as a rookie in the NFL. 20-game starter. He'll enter the league as a 30-plus game starter. Goes back to Oregon. Chance to win the national championship. Chance to win the Heisman Trophy. All things considered, staying away from the New York Jets for at least one season. New York Jets could end up drafting him in 2027. Who knows? All things considered, I think he made the right decision going back to college.
I wanted to switch gears here a little bit. Our friend Stephen Kamala, who's not here right now, who's normally our host because he's closing on a car apparently as we speak. His father's a Naval Academy graduate and in the Naval Academy Athletic Hall of Fame, but for baseball. So we try to keep tabs on him a little bit. I want to ask you about two Navy guys: Eli Heidenreich, the receiver slash running back, and Landon Robinson, the D tackle. Me and Stevie have been high on Heidenreich all year. Uh, what do you think their prospects look like coming into the draft? Where could we expect to see them get picked at all?
Heidenreich could get selected very late, with late sixth, seventh round. Obviously, he's a running back who does better catching the ball than he does running the football, and he's an exceptional pass catcher out of the backfield or downfield pass catcher for an offense that really doesn't throw the ball all that well. So you're looking at him as a potential late round pick, sixth, seventh round pick that is going to be a situational back on Sunday. Heidenreich, I don't have the list in front of me, but if you want to give me a second, go on to Landon Robinson while I'm looking here. Landon Robinson, I mean, he's a great player, great college player. I don't know that he's going to be a great pro. He's got limited size. He's going to have to be a three technique, one gap defensive tackle. Doesn't have. It's not just limited size; it's limited growth potential. He's not going to get that much bigger. But if you run a three technique, if you use a three technique tackle, you run a one gap system. Maybe he's a backup for you. Heidenreich is going to the combine. Landon Robinson is not, so that's going to hurt Landon Robinson. I don't think Robinson's going to get drafted. But then again, go back to what I said. Defensive tackle is a priority position. This is not a good year for defensive tackle in the NFL draft. So maybe I'll be wrong.
All right, Stevie had a question for you here about the Senior Bowl, about the players that you get to evaluate.
Yes, so I do want to wonder, or I do wonder if the quality of the players that you're evaluating has declined at all due to the transfer portal.
No, I mean, David Bailey is going to be one of the top players selected in the draft. He was in the transfer portal. I mean, he went from Fernando Mendoza, played at Cal in 2024. I mean, his game took off at Indiana.
But like overall, have you seen any change at all, or is it still like these are still the guys? These are still the dudes that they were always going to be here, type thing.
Mean, the best players are going to rise to the top. What happens with the transfer portal is there's a couple of guys like Colton Hood of Tennessee, who's a fringe first round pick, probably ends up in the second round. He's played on 3 different teams. So what's going to happen is during the interview process, they're going to wonder why he went from team to team to team to team to team.
Yeah.
It's better off if you're, say, a Avril Reese or Jeremiah Love or Reuben Bain, and you played your whole career at one school. If you bounce around, that's going to be a question. I mean, it could also be a positive because if you're bouncing around, you're going from system to system to system. And if you're going from system to system to system and you're still proving yourself to be a very productive, impactful player, that's going to be check mark in the positive column. Again, like I mentioned with Dante Moore, NIL has changed the face of college football, understandably so. So you can't blame these guys if they're moving around to get bigger salaries or get better NIL contracts, just like the guys who are going to be hiring, the general managers, the scouts, the assistant personnel, they move around if they get better deals elsewhere.
Yeah, we could flip that to the positive side of it as well as some of these guys that maybe wouldn't have gotten their opportunity if they stayed at their school. Like maybe Fernando Mendoza, like he was great, like good at Cal, but he was fantastic at Indiana, wins the national championship.
Well, I mean that in my opinion is because Curt Cignetti is the best coach in football. I mean college or pro.
Yes.
Right? He's the best coach in football. You talk about Fernando Mendoza, Omar Cooper, D'Angelo Pons, Elijah Surratt. There are a lot of guys. Mikael Kamara,
Aiden Fisher.
Well, no, not Aiden Fisher. Aiden Fisher is going to get drafted, but Mikael Kamara, Black, the cornerback, Hemby, Black, the running
Mm-hmm.
back, Hemby, the running back. These guys are unlikely to get drafted, but they were incredible players for Indiana. I mean, they had a major impact because Signetti is such a tremendous coach.
Yeah, I mean, we brought that up before of like the talent metric. Like they say, oh, Lyman could have won with that team. It's like you ranked them like 72nd in talent coming in this year,
yeah.
right? No, you're right, Tony. No, Signetti is the difference maker in that.
The great former West Virginia quarterback Kurt Signetti.
Had to throw that in there, of course. So, Tony, I wanted to ask you about a Division III guy from John Carroll College, Tyron Montgomery. His story is kind of fascinating. I believe if
I rolled my eyes because last year you asked me about some Western Michigan.
Yes.
We love those players, Tony.
Well,
we love those guys.
Well, I read his story. I guess he hadn't started playing football at all until a couple years ago. Finds himself at John Carroll. He was at the Senior Bowl. What can you tell us about him?
Blew it up at the Senior Bowl. I actually got to spend some time with him. I talked with him. He's a well-spoken individual, a bright kid, a lot of fun to speak with. I got to spend some time with him. I think what happened was he walked onto a basketball team, and the NC2A said that his eligibility had run out at Nicholls State. I actually know the person who got him into Nicholls State, and then he wanted to transfer to a Division I school, but the NCAA said, no, your eligibility had run out, so he had to go to John Carroll. I remember I was at the Shrine Bowl, and the guy I know who helped him get into Nicholls State sent me a text, says, watch out for this guy. I'm like, yeah, watch out for this guy. And then from day one, he blew everybody away. I mean, one of the first plays, he smokes Colton Hood, who I just spoke about before, the cornerback from Tennessee, who's a potential, is a top 45 pick. And he just kept it going all throughout the week. Kind of pulled back a little bit on Wednesday, but he's not going to the combine. I was told, spoke with him at the Senior Bowl. He says he hopes to work out at the Cincinnati Pro Day rather than John Carroll, because not too many people are gonna trek out to see him at John Carroll. I mean, but that's a situation sort of like an Alan Herron of Maryland, who I spoke about before, the offensive tackle. Really wasn't graded coming into the season, or if they were graded, were very low on the scouting radar. Goes to the Senior Bowl, makes a name for himself. I don't know that Montgomery's going to get drafted. He's going to have to run very fast at his pro day. And the fact that he's not at the combine is going to hurt him as far as the medicals are concerned. But listen, I mean, even if he doesn't get drafted, he's going to get signed as an undrafted free agent. And if he plays in camp for whatever team signs him this summer, the way he played at the Senior Bowl, he's going to make a roster as a fifth receiver.
That's amazing that he gets to that, right? Because it's incredible. Go from D3 anything to professional, and even just to get a shot. He seems like that type of guy that you just give him a shot and he'll turn heads like he did in Mobile.
That's exactly what he did in Mobile. So there's no reason. And like I said, he's seems like a smart guy. He's got it going on between the ears. And the only reason he ended up at John Carroll was the NC2A was being the NC2A, as we recently saw with Trinidad Chambliss. And unlike Trinidad Chambliss, Tyron Montgomery, I'm sure, didn't have the resources to fight him in court.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. What are some? I know you've given us some guys so far, but give us any late round guys, like day 3 guys who really caught your eye that we haven't talked about yet.
Just overall,
yeah, that you saw and you're like, okay, this guy went from not on my radar to, you know what, this guy's got a good chance rounds 5, 6, 7 to get drafted.
Now, first guy I go with is Caden Wetjen from Iowa.
Yeah.
A guy who, small, speedy guy, was an impact return specialist at Iowa. I mean, a great return specialist. You could see he's a good athlete, but really didn't factor much in the passing game. I think he had 23 receptions in 2 years at Iowa. At Shrine Bowl, he was uncoverable. I mean, the defensive backs were given a 5-yard cushion, and he was still smoking them. I mean, it was unbelievable the way that they couldn't cover him. The other kid that I liked a real lot from the Shrine Bowl was Avery Smith, the cornerback from Toledo. Mm-hmm. Smaller guy, but technically very sound. great back pedal, which you usually don't see in college cornerbacks. College cornerbacks are very quick to come out of their back pedal. They like to side shuffle, which hurts their ability to basically plant and drive to the throw. Smith is a smaller guy, but he quick pedal, good hip turn. I think he's going to be a real good dime back on Sunday. Can play in man, can play facing the action, can play backed off the line of scrimmage. Got to speak with him for a while. He was a guy that was very impressive when I spoke to him at the Senior Bowl. The Arkansas running back Mike Washington was terrific. He's a bigger guy, like 215 pounds, but he plays like a quick back, and he's also got some power. And I watched the film; he caught the ball extremely well. So those are three, I think, day three guys, 5th, 6th, 7th round. That will get drafted and have a real opportunity to make an active roster, especially Wetjen of Iowa. He's going to make a roster because of his return skills, and I think eventually he'll see the field as a 5th receiver and make plays.
Yeah, you brought Wetjen up. Watching him in college, I had a similar thought of you watch him return and you go, man, this kid is electric, arguably one of the best returners in the country. Why is he not in an offense? That always, especially a team like Iowa who is starved for offense every single year. You couldn't. It almost felt like he should have been out there all the time. But that was always one question I had: is like, why are you not playing this kid all the time?
Well, probably because their quarterback stunk. I mean,
Yeah.
Gronkowski was terrific at South Dakota State, and then something happened with them last year throwing the ball. I mean, he only threw for 1,700 yards. I think it was 10 TDs to 7 interceptions, which is a terrible ratio.
Yes.
And really, last year at Iowa, he looked better running the ball than he did throwing the ball, which was a surprise because he showed some passing skill when he was at South Dakota State. Did throw the ball much better at the Shrine Bowl, which, Iowa has historically had terrible offenses. I mean, really, really bad offenses. Funny story is, a couple of years ago, they had the punter from Australia, whose name I'm never going to remember.
Tory Taylor? Is that?
Could be. He was at the Senior Bowl, and I got to speak with him for a while, and I was like, man, you were such a great punter. He's from Iowa. He goes, yeah, that's because our offense stunk. I was always on the field punting the ball. I got all kinds of, game day action. But that more so about Iowa always has good defenses.
Yes.
They have good defensive linemen. They always have good defensive backs. Once in a while, a linebacker. They put a lot of good tight ends into the NFL. But their offense as a whole leaves a lot to be desired.
Yes, typical Big Ten West offense out there.
And they put up 40 against Vandy.
They did.
It was 37.
They did. Shocker. Boy, you had a question about position groups.
Yes. What position group feels the strongest this year?
I go edge rusher, pass rusher. I hate that term, edge rusher, but edge rusher, pass rusher, and off-ball linebacker. Especially in the early part of the draft, you're going to get a lot of pass rushers at the top through the second day of the draft. And I absolutely love the off-ball linebacker class. I hate to call them off-ball linebackers, but that's what they're branded as these days. It's not a priority position in the draft, but I think the way Carson Schlesinger turned out last year as the top pick around 2 may change that. Whether it's C.J. Allen of Georgia, Anthony Hill, on and on and on. It's an outstanding off-ball linebacker position.
Okay. If you're ranking the edge rushers, you going David Bailey or Reuben Bain Jr. or other?
Well, it depends. What kind of system am I? It's funny because I see a lot of these mock draft. First of all, let's talk about David Bailey. David Bailey's exceptional pass rusher, and he's a smaller guy. He's not a 260-pound guy. He's probably only going about 235, 240. But you never see him get obliterated by blocks. Quite the opposite. You see him knock big offensive tackles out. Now, David Bailey, and he's athletic. He makes plays in pursuit against the run. He can drop off the line in coverage. But David Bailey, when I watch the film, he's exceptional standing over tackle. He's very ordinary with his hand in the ground. Reuben Bain is a guy who is exceptional with his hand in the ground. Don't know if you can play him standing up. I have David Bailey rated higher. I think it's kind of funny that people think that David Bailey's going to end up with the New York Jets because Aaron Glenn likes to have his guys put their hand on the ground rather than stand up over tackle. And I think that David Bailey is going to be a natural fit for the Tennessee Titans and Robert Saleh, because Saleh had Jermaine Johnson, he had his Will McDonald, these guys who come out of a 3 point stance, but also stand over tackle more times than not. And that's where Bailey succeeds or exceeds, whatever word you want to use. I have Bailey rated higher than Ruben Bain.
That's very cool. That's
I can see
interesting.
that.
Yeah, I can see that too. Wanted to ask you some offensive lineman stuff. I know your favorite topic. Who do you have being the first offensive lineman off the board? Because I feel like I've seen a lot of mock drafts where there's several offensive linemen being taken in the first round. Who do you have as the top of this class?
Fano of Utah is slightly higher than Mauiola of Miami.
Why is that? Is it like versatility, more length?
He's slightly more athletic. Well, we'll know their length. I think they're probably both about the same height. We don't know their official length, and we'll know in a week or so when they're measured at the combine. When you look at the length now, it's basically program length, which is usually an inch to an inch and a half taller than they actually are. I think that Fano is a little bit more athletic. He's a little bit better on the second level. He's a little bit better in motion. And I personally like the offensive linemen that are more agile, those swing guys that can play left or right side, the Lane Johnson type of tackles.
Okay, and another tackle or lineman I want to ask you about. We talked about Iowa. This kid Jennings Dunker.
With the flaming red hair.
Yes, is he for real, or is it just does he just look and sound the part? Because he looks and sounds awesome, but is he?
Well, it depends on what you mean for real. I think he could be a really good right tackle, maybe guard, in a system that doesn't ask him to move too much. That doesn't ask him to play far off the line of scrimmage. That doesn't use him in motion. He is a dominant small area blocker. He is a punch in him out type of guy that will move defenders off the line on run blocking downs. But he also gets exploited off the edge on pass protection because he's not an agile guy that's got great footwork. He's not a guy that's going to be able to pull across the line of scrimmage and take opponents out blocking a motion. So is he the real deal? I mean, yes, as a third round pick at right tackle, maybe guard. But I guess it depends on what you're looking for as far as real deal is concerned. He's down there. I think I'm looking at my list right now. He's the number 13 offensive lineman, 13th ranked offensive lineman on my board, which still isn't bad. He's the last of the day two guys, which is better than what he came into the season with. He came into the season with a fourth round grade. It depends on whether teams view him as a tackle or guard, and I think that will be determined on whether they think he's agile enough to play tackle.
Yeah, real deal to me is if we have a chance to see this guy make a team and be out there on a Sunday, possibly. That to me is.
Well, I think you will. It may not be year one, but I think eventually you will.
I like it. Boy, you had a question about just the overall the football players in the draft.
Yes. I want to know who are the best football players, not necessarily the most athletic or biggest potential guys, but the production over potential guys, the legit football players.
As opposed to the figure skaters in the draft?
Yes, as opposed to the guys who are drafted because they're the most athletic. Look at this guy. Look how high he can jump. Look how strong he is.
I understand where you're going with that. I don't have you're gonna have to give me a minute with this one. I got to go down the list here.
Anyone coached by Coach Kurt Signetti and any Signetti player.
Well, there you go. I mean, you made my life easier. I mean, you go to Indiana, right? And you talk about guys like Kalon Black. You talk about an offensive lineman like Pat Coogan. I mean, Pat Coogan's a day three pick. He's not really. He plays like a power gap offensive lineman, but he's only about 310 pounds, and he's not super athletic. But he's an outstanding lineman. Stephen Daly, who played across from Mikael Kamara, another real good pass rusher, who tore. I think the situation with the story with Stephen Daly was he tore his knee ligament celebrating the Big Ten victory over Ohio State. So gosh knows where he's going to be back. Lewis Moore, another guy, the safety from from Indiana. I mean, he's 5'10" and a half, 200 pounds, runs a 4.55, but he's a great football player. So really, yeah, I mean, go to Indiana because they've got some top end talent, and they've got some guys that are just they're not great athletes, but they're really good football players.
Yes, boy, was that the.
I love it.
Yes, I was gonna say. I hope you're
That's the
satisfied.
answer I'm looking for.
Yes.
Is Kurt
Good
Cignetti's
Cignetti,
in
yes.
Indiana football and production over potential.
Oh yes,
The guy that was great
Yes.
before the season, and I mean, he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's not the most athletic, but you could line him up at tight end. You could line him up as an H back. You can even line him
like
up
a
as
Chris
fullback,
Cooley.
and he's going to get the job done.
he's gonna hit someone in the mouth and get up smiling. Especially with a name like that, you expect that. A monster of the midway type of player. I have one specific guy from my University of Virginia Wahoos, the running back Jamari Taylor. I believe I saw he's going to the combine. Where do you see him getting picked, if he gets picked at all, and how big is the combine invite for someone like him?
Yeah, I don't know. I have him as a free agent. I'm looking at my list right now. He is in fact going to the combine. He was he was at the Senior Bowl, but he really didn't stand out. I mean, wasn't he a transfer from South Carolina State or something like that? Came from a small
Yes,
school?
he was a walk-on at NC Central. Walked on there, and then a 1-year transfer at UVA, and was I want to say first team ACC running back.
Right. I'm looking at my list here. He was what?
He's not
The
big.
thing with him is he's 205 pounds, but he plays like a power back. If you watch him, I mean, he's an inside grinder that doesn't have great size. Caught the ball relatively well. I have him as an undrafted free agent, unless somehow he runs a 4.4, which I don't think is going to happen. He's going to have to make it as a situational third down back at the next level.
I could buy that. I could see that.
Yeah, the running back group as a whole feels a lot worse than last year. Last year I thought it was one of the best groups, and
aside from a Jeremiah Love.
That's true. But I don't know. I just feel like maybe I'm wrong about that, but I just feel like the running back group doesn't have the depth.
Similar to 2 years ago, where the first back was taken late in the second round, the kid from Texas. That I think the Panthers take him, and he's barely played. He's always on the sideline. Yeah, I mean, it's Jeremiah Love and everybody else, but everybody else. Jadarian Price is a good back. Both of the kids from Penn State, Katron Allen, Nick Singleton, are really good backs. Obviously, Allen outplayed Singleton this year. Singleton's probably more physically gifted as far as speed and explosion.
Yeah. What happened to those guys this year? I mean, like the last 3 years, they were phenomenal.
What happened to Penn State this year?
Yeah.
About those two guys. What happened to Penn State? Damon Claiborne of Wake Forest, a very underrated back, good size, explosive speed, can turn the corner, good pass catcher out of the backfield. You go on. Jam Miller of Alabama is going to be a day 3 pick. He's a real good back, struggle with injuries. Mike Washington of Arkansas, I talked about. Emmett Johnson of Nebraska runs with a bit of an upright style. He's got to get more forward lean, but he had a terrific season. I like TJ Harden of SMU by way of UCLA, although he's not getting a combine invite. He's going to drop. So, yeah, I mean, Jeremiah Love steals the show this year. Then it's a bunch of day 2, early day 3 guys, but you'll find some talent out of that position.
Yeah, there always is rookie running backs that contribute just because of the nature of that position. Is every team can never have too many, and eventually someone going to get an opportunity. You play enough fantasy football, you see that.
If they're in the right system, they will.
Yeah. Now, last question for you: who are a couple guys to watch heading into the combine?
I'm told that Chris Brazel, the Tennessee receiver, is going to test off the charts. I was told that a couple of weeks ago. Brazel, if you watch him on film, is a guy who made a lot of big downfield plays for Tennessee. He's a legitimate. He looked like a legitimate deep receiver, and I'm told he's going to run really fast. The thing about Brazel is. Got to watch his 10 split because he looks like a long strider. He's a guy that's got more built up speed. So, if he runs a 4.33, that's great. I want to see what his 10 split is because that 10 split basically signifies his ability to get off the line of scrimmage. I think the thing with the combine, like any other year, is who's going to work out at the combine and who's not going to work at the combine. Are the Ohio State guys, Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs, going to work out? We don't know that. Fernando Mendoza has already said he's not going to throw at the combine. Fernando Mendoza, as a reporter from the Shrine Bowl, doesn't need to do anything except fly to Las Vegas and get his medical taken. He doesn't have to do really a darn thing. I think TJ Parker of Clemson will work out very well. I like CJ Allen of Georgia. It's going to be interesting to see how fast Makai Lemon runs at the combine, if in fact he runs. I mean, we're doing this. I'm actually leaving for the combine a week from today, and I think what will happen is starting Saturday, you'll start to hear guys say, "No, I'm not going to work out at the combine." So, like everything else, it's who is going to work out at the combine.
Could Makai Lemon not working out? Could that flip him with Jordan Tyson in some people's minds? Or do you think it won't have an effect in terms of?
Well, what you're saying now is you believe that
if
Makai Lemon's rated higher than Makai Lemon.
I like Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, we love Tyson.
Stevie knows I have been singing Jordan Tyson's praises for 2 years. I would have him higher, but I have seen some things that have had Lemon higher. But
I wouldn't. I mean, people just throw what at the wall now and hope that it sticks. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, Jordan Tyson. The big issue with Jordan Tyson is his downfield speed and his durability, because he was injured all last year. He was injured in 2024. Couldn't play in the college football playoff game. I mean, that's a big question. He is a little bit bigger, and he's a better receiver than Makai Lemon. That's not to put Makai Lemon down. That just talks about what kind of receiver Jordan Tyson is. Unless Jordan Tyson's leg falls off, I'd be shocked if Makai Lemon's selected before him.
Good. I like to hear that. Like I said, Stevie knows I have been all on the Jordan Tyson wagon for 2 years now. Boy, anything else you want to ask Tony before we thank him for being here and apologize for wasting his time?
Yeah, I think I'm good. I think you answered my questions.
Awesome. Well, Tony, thank you so much for coming on. I know you're busy all the time, but especially this time of year where we're getting into the heart and soul of draft season. So again, Tony, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure. I'll speak with you next year.
Yes, awesome. That is senior NFL analyst and draft expert at Essentially Sports and the biggest Led Zeppelin fan on the face of the earth, Mr. Tony Pauline. For him, the boy Stephen Vesci, I'm the coach, Nick Vesci. Reminder, be decent to each other, have a good one, and we will see you next time. Take care, Guatemala.